to meet with some executives at SiriusXM. They asked me to do a 1-hour program once a week that they could run on one of their channels. And I was very honored. It was a great opportunity, but I didn't feel right about it. I'd never done anything on radio, and it seemed like God opened this door, but for some reason I didn't have peace. And I told them how grateful I was, but I would have to pass. 2 years later, they asked for another meeting. The executive said, "You didn't want to do the 1-hour program once a week. What if we gave you your own channel 24 hours a day, 7 days a week?" I said, "Now that sounds good." Had I not said no to the good, we have to say yes. Yes to our dreams, yes to God's promises, yes to the right people. Yes is incredibly important, but yes alone is not enough. What you say no to has as much impact as what you say yes to. Yes is typically easier. It's the path of least resistance. But if you don't learn to say no, you will never get to your greater yeses. There's power in no. No to compromising. No to people pleasing. No to distractions. No takes discipline to not let our emotions rule us. It's not something that comes naturally. Our flesh wants to have its own way. And most of us are good at saying yes. You want to stay up late and watch TV? Yes, that's fun. Do you want to go to the mall and not do your homework? Yes, let's go. Do you want that third bowl of Bluebell chocolate chip ice cream? Yes. You don't even need to ask. There's a battle taking place between our flesh and our spirit. The flesh wants to take the easy way out, wants instant gratification. But Proverbs says a person without self-control is like a city with broken down walls. In those days, when the walls were down around a city, the enemy could easily come in and do whatever they wanted. If you say yes all the time, and there's no self-control, self-discipline, then your walls are down. There's no defense, no protection. And sometimes we're our worst enemy. We're saying yes to offense. They did me wrong. Yes to compromise, friends pulling us down. Yes to mediocrity, showing up late to work. You can have all the talent in the world and all the opportunity, but if you don't have self-control, the discipline to say no to things you know you shouldn't do, then you won't reach your destiny. You may want to tell somebody off. The clerk is rude, and the neighbor offends you. Your flesh, that's our lower nature, will say, let them have it. Be rude back to them. The easy thing is to agree. Yes, that sounds good. Lord, thank you for that idea. But every idea is not from God. You have to discern between the still, small voice of the Spirit and the loud, angry voice of the flesh. Be still. Get quiet and listen to what God is saying. Don't let the flesh, your carnal desires, dictate your life. You're in control of your yeses and your nos. It's easy to say, yes, I'm going to get upset. Yes, I'm going to pay them back. Try a different approach. Learn the power of no. No to arguing and having to have your way. No to watching things that are poisoning your spirit. No to peer pressure, letting people talk you into compromising. Every no is leading to a better yes. The no's are not an option. They are necessary for you to reach your destiny. Moses was born into a Hebrew family, but he was raised by the Pharaoh's daughter, an Egyptian princess. He grew up in the palace with prestige and influence. But as a young man, he saw how the Egyptians were oppressing the Hebrews, had them in slavery and mistreating them. And something rose up on the inside. He knew that wasn't right. And the scripture says he refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, but instead he chose to stand with the people of God. Here he had it made, wealth, influence, an easy life. Thoughts were telling him, don't rock the boat, Moses. But he dared to say, no, I'm not taking the easy way out. I'm not going to sit back and watch my family suffer and compromise with these people. He refused to be called by their name. Look at that boldness. It wasn't easy, but if you're going to reach the fullness of your destiny, there will be these times you have to put your foot down and refuse things that are less than God's best. Refuse the addictions that have hindered your family. Refuse to be cynical like those around you. Refuse the offense, the unforgiveness that's trying to poison your life. Had Moses not said no as a young man, he would have never seen a bigger yes. Had he stayed in the palace where it was comfortable, thought things are good here, good can be the enemy of the best. Without that no, Moses would have never brought the Israelites out of slavery. Never seen the Red Sea part, the enemies drown in the water. That no may be difficult, but it's leading to a yes much greater than you can imagine. The scripture says, no discipline at the time is pleasant, but later on you will see a reward. We focus too much on right now. It's hard to say no to this friend. Joel, this is dragging me down. I'm comfortable. You're right where Moses was. Are you going to obey the flesh or the spirit? God asks for the no's, not to make your life harder. It's because he has bigger yeses, greater things in your future. But the no is required to get to the yes. Well, it's hard to get up early and exercise. It's hard to not eat things that are making me unhealthy. It's hard to control my mouth, Joel. It's hard to not watch things that are poisoning me. Here's the key. The pain of discipline is less than the pain of regret. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. It's going to take courage, and I know doing what you don't feel like, but that pain is much less than looking back and realizing I was supposed to deliver the Israelites, so to speak. God had these big yeses. I could have been at new levels, more blessed, more happy, but I didn't refuse what was limiting me. I didn't learn the power of no. We focus on the pain right now. We need to think more about later on. Moses was uncomfortable leaving the palace, but later on, when he was watching the Israelites march out of Egypt, 2 million people free after 10 generations of slavery, not one part of him said, I wish I hadn't said no back then. I wish I'd taken the easy way out. You will never see your greater yeses without saying no to certain things. And they may be good. Moses living in the palace, nothing wrong with that. But he sensed there was more in him, that he was destined to deliver God's people. If you'll be uncomfortable now, later on you'll look back and think it was well worth it. To meet with some executives at SiriusXM. They asked me to do a 1-hour program once a week that they could run on one of their channels. And I was very honored. It was a great opportunity, but I didn't feel right about it. I'd never done anything on radio, and it seemed like God opened this door, but for some reason I didn't have peace. And I told them how grateful I was, but I would have to pass. 2 years later, they asked for another meeting. The executive said, you didn't want to do the 1-hour program once a week. What if we gave you your own channel 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? I said, now that sounds good. Had I not said no to the good thing, I'd never seen the bigger yes. Trust what you feel in your spirit. What God is going to do in your life is bigger than what you have planned. He'll speak to you in the still small voice and uneasiness. This isn't right. May not make sense, but God knows what he's doing. He can see the big picture. And sometimes you have to say no to what you're comfortable with. It's not bad. You're not doing anything wrong, but God's calling you higher. He's about to bring you into a greater yes, but he's asking you to come up higher. To say no to watching so much on your TV, your phone. To say no to comparing and competing with your friends. And always trying to keep up, outperform. Get off that treadmill. That's not going anywhere. Or to say no to being against yourself. Feeling inferior, not good enough, not attractive. You have to do like Moses. Put your foot down and refuse to live that way. Don't let the enemy steal your destiny by seeing yourself the wrong way. Are there things that you need to say no to today? You feel that conviction, God's speaking to you, but you keep putting it off. I'll do it later. I don't want to be uncomfortable. That's going to be hard. The longer you wait, the harder it's going to be. There's a window of grace to do what you know you're supposed to do. God is going to breathe on your life and give you the ability to do hard things. You are in one of those windows now. You wouldn't be hearing this if you weren't well able. Don't miss your moment. What you say no to is going to open the door to a yes that you've never imagined. This is what Joseph did. His brothers were jealous and sold him into slavery in Egypt. He was working for a man named Potiphar, running his household. Well, Potiphar's wife liked Joseph. She tried to seduce him. When Potiphar wasn't home, she'd come around and make advances, let him know that she was interested. But Joseph was a man of great character and integrity. When God has something big in your future, you'll be tested along the way. Can you handle more influence, more favor, more resources? This is where many people get stuck. They're not good at saying no. They want the pleasure of the moment. They give in to their fleshly desires, not realizing that's keeping them from the much greater pleasure that God has in store. And Joseph was alone in the house. Potiphar was gone. Just him and this wife that's after him. Nobody would have known. Joseph was already disappointed. Life had thrown him a bad break, held against his will, in a foreign land. What does he have to lose? But Joseph understood we have to win battles in private before God will bless us in public. What you do when no one is watching will determine how much God can entrust you with. And Joseph knew that people may not be watching, but God is watching. He controls the universe. Promotion doesn't come from people. It comes from the Lord. Paul said to Timothy to run from temptation. Don't hang around and think that you can withstand it. I'm strong, Joel. I'm not going to give in. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. If you're married and someone's interested in you, stay away from them. You may work with them, but do what you can to keep your distance. If they take the elevator, you take the stairs. If they go out the front door, you go out the back. If they come in at 8, you come in at 7:45. Don't make it harder than it has to be. The scripture says, be careful when you think you stand, lest you fall. That means don't play with fire or you're going to get burned. Stay out of the kitchen or you're going to eat the donut. Don't go to the barbershop or you're going to get a haircut. It says to run from temptation. That's aggressive. Could have said walk, jog, move quickly. You have to be on the offensive. Well, Joel, I know these friends aren't making good decisions. They give into temptation, but I'm smarter than that. I'm not going to do it. 1 Corinthians says, bad company corrupts good character. I don't doubt that you're good, but your good is not going to rub off on them. Their bad is going to rub off on you. It says in Psalms 1, don't sit inactive in the path of sinners. Don't hang around people that don't have what you want. You're going to be like them. Are you sitting inactive with people that compromise, gossip, no integrity? That's going to rub off on you. You need to run from that temptation. Quit making it harder. It's difficult enough to deal with things we have no control over. When Potiphar's wife comes, so to speak, we can't stop that. When things randomly pop up on your computer. Perhaps you were born into a family of dysfunction. None of that is our choice. We have the grace to resist. But when you're putting yourself in environments of compromise and temptation, people that don't honor God, you're making it more difficult. Well, all the guys party on my ball team. They all go out afterwards and mess around. Find some new friends. Find a new team to play on. Your destiny is too important. The calling on your life too significant. What God has assigned you to do can impact your family for generations to come. You have to learn to say no, to live holy with integrity,